Hello everyone, I'm Rohde-Frank and I have an important message to share with you today. The Earth's estimated age is 4.5 billion years. This place we call home was here long before we came into being. Humans have existed for only a blip in the Earth's history, and yet Earth's fate is in our hands along with the life it offers to all its inhabitants. Now is the time we must confront the issue of climate change. It's our ethical duty to make changes in our daily life as well as in the broader scope to reduce our carbon footprint and advocate for the future wellness of the natural world. Environmental issues are perhaps the most profound of the challenges to face the global population in all of human history. Issues such as deforestation, air pollution, loss of biodiversity, ozone depletion, and global warming have become a top priority for scientists around the world and have gained more public awareness in recent years for good reason. All of these issues are interconnected with one another and have deep implications for life on Earth. While the planet has endured extreme changes before, it wasn't until the climate stabilized that humans were able to cultivate civilization. Agriculture allowed societies to develop, but it was the discovery of natural resources buried deep in Earth's surface that allowed society to industrialize. Capturing these valuable resources has proven our vast capabilities as a species, as well as improved our quality of life. The advancement of technology has greatly enhanced science, medicine, and the economy. While our species has undoubtedly benefited from increasing our dependence and use of the planet's natural resources, it has come with a major cost. According to Footprint Network, since the 1970s, humanity has been an ecological overshoot. In other words, we are depleting Earth's natural resources faster than nature can regenerate in order to maintain sustainability on the planet. In fact, humanity uses the equivalent of 1.6 Earths to provide the resources we use and absorb our waste. What's more, high-income nations are disproportionately responsible for the ecological overshoot. Consider this. According to Footprint Network, if everyone lived as the average American, we would need 5 Earths to support all of the human population. As Americans, it is our ethical obligation to examine the impact our lifestyles have on the planet. But first, we must examine the primary causes of environmental destruction. Global warming is defined by the Time for Change organization as observed and projected increases in the average temperature of Earth's atmosphere and oceans. The higher concentration of greenhouse gases, such as water vapor and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the more heat energy is being reflected back to the Earth. Over time, if greenhouse gas emissions are not significantly decreased, the temperatures of the Earth's atmosphere and oceans will continue to rise, causing a rise in sea level and extreme weather events. According to NASA, scientific evidence for warming of the climate system is unequivocal, and yet many Americans remain skeptical. In Sociology Matters, Richard Schaefer states, in a national survey, 41% said they were unsure about the scientific evidence of global warming. 43% thought the seriousness of the climate trend was generally exaggerated, and only 9% of those surveyed expected that they would see the effects of global warming in their lifetime. Despite the population's skepticism, the overwhelming evidence is clear, and it's important that we pay attention. While those in high-income nations are still debating the legitimacy of global warming, some regions of the world are already suffering from its effects. Nicholas Kristof's article in the New York Times examines the southern region of Africa currently undergoing a significant drought, thanks in part to the United States' extremely high annual contribution of carbon emissions. According to the United Nations, 1.3 million children in the region are suffering from malnutrition. Because of the lack of rain, crops are failing and families are slowly starving, reduced to eating cactus and even rocks and ash. Research by the American Meteorological Society shows the recent El Niño's effects were intensified due to global warming, which reduced water runoff in South Africa by 48%. So let's visualize the reality of those suffering from the effects of global warming, and let's do what we can to help them. Not only do we have an ethical responsibility to help those in poor income nations, but we also must value the wellness of future generations. Although current environmental issues are seemingly endless and naturally daunting, we must face them. In order to do so, we must first examine how we can make an impact individually, but then we must go further to determine how our individual efforts can collectively result in the most profound impact imaginable. The best way you can begin is by determining your carbon footprint. According to the EPA, carbon footprint calculators measure our daily activities, such as disposal of waste, transportation, and food consumption that cause greenhouse gas emissions. There are many websites that will walk you through the process, but my favorite is Footprint Network. If you live anything like the average American, you will discover your carbon footprint is far higher than what's considered sustainable. You must isolate what factors are contributing the most to your carbon footprint and begin to adapt new behaviors accordingly. For example, we all know that to reduce carbon emissions, we should limit our driving as much as we can, and should also take advantage of public transportation, bike and walk when possible, and even carpool. But in order to make a more significant change, we should all give our support to reforming public transit to be more accessible and as efficient as possible. Another area in our lives to examine is our food consumption. Did you know, according to Betty Halleck's article in the LA Times, a 1/3 pound burger requires 660 gallons of water? Chances are you've heard of numerous problems associated with the meat industry, but you may not be aware of the environmental impact our meat and dairy consumption has. Footprint Network states that if every American reduced their animal products by half, we'd use 645 million fewer global acres, an area that could cover 484 million football fields. Knowing this, you should start by committing to eliminating meat and dairy from one meal every day. Going a step further, you need to examine the sources of the food you purchase. According to the organization What's Your Impact, a typical meal bought from a conventional supermarket chain uses 4 to 17 times the petroleum for transport than the same meal using local ingredients. In addition, learning how to grow a garden is a great investment. Over time, you will save money and see health improvements, as well as reduce your carbon footprint. One of the most negative effects Americans have on the planet is from our waste production and disposal. In his book Social Problems, John Masiosis explains that less than half of the waste that Americans make gets incinerated or recycled, which means that more than half of our trash gets put into landfills. He goes on to explain that we make so much trash that we must have to ship it to landfills in other countries, which is contributing to the pollution that is poisoning our water and our oceans. Many of the materials in landfills, especially plastics, will take centuries to decompose. Therefore, while recycling is an important habit to commit to, it is the bare minimum in terms of protecting our endangered environment. In order to make a larger impact, you should be mindful consumers, thinking of minimizing your waste from the packaging you purchase it to how you dispose of it. While all these factors are crucial steps for us to make as individuals, the best impact we can make is to join together. Challenge societal norms that are not conducive with helping the environment. Become closely acquainted with national and local environmental policies, and contact your local representatives about important measures that need to be taken to help the planet. Join organizations that are committed to reducing our national carbon footprint. You can find a great list on morethanscientists.org. Most importantly, spread your knowledge about the environment to others. Global warming is not something we can wish away, nor will it solve itself. It is our moral obligation to face these challenges with commitment, teamwork, and action from each and every member of the community. Going forward, feel empowered and inspired, not just to reduce your carbon footprint, but also to mobilize within your community for change. Thank you.